welcome. I'm Cheryl Mitchell, the president of Treleven, which is a retreat and learning center that's located on a sheep farm here in Addison County. But our mission of Treleven is really to look at the intersection of spirit, nature, and social justice. And so we've been very interested in partnering with Bright Futures and Let's Grow Kids, because we think that the ways our community supports families and children is really the bedrock of making sure that we will all have a wonderful place to live and that everybody will have the opportunities that they need in our community. And I'm thrilled today because one of my oldest and dearest friends is on the show. This is Tiffany Sargent, who's the director of the Center for Community Engagement.
Yes, thank you.
And also Megan Brakeley, who, as it turns out, went to school with my daughter Anea. So it just feels like many generations come together in this community, and I'm so happy to. It's a great place to live and work.
Absolutely.
So we'd love, I know that you all do so much that we probably won't have time to get to all of it, but maybe we could start and you could just do a quick overview about what the center does, and then the three of us will talk about some of the more specific programs.
That sounds
okay?
great. Thank you, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity to be here. So the Center for Community Engagement has 3 anchor points: service, scholarship, and citizenship. Service, we have about 1,500 Middlebury College students who volunteer each year, giving about 65,000 hours of service. We work and advise with about 16 different student service organizations and continuing initiatives. And we also support and fund student initiatives who partner with community members or here nationally and internationally. And then the scholarship piece is we also work with faculty and students. For faculty who use community-based projects as a way to teach course content, to bring the material to life, so to speak, and they will partner with a community organization who might have a burning question or need some research done or have a project in mind, and faculty are able to use that project as a way to teach the course. So in GIS, Geographic Information Systems, for example, students might be doing an actual map for a community as opposed to a simulation project. And then the citizenship piece is big year this year. We work with a group of students in Vote who are helping to either register students or helping them get absentee ballots from their home states, and just promoting that kind of opportunity, and other democratic initiatives, democratic with a small d, of how to participate. We try to teach students how to participate in community so that no matter where they are, 4 years from now, 10 years from now, 25 years from now, they will have learned some of the skills and agency of how to help affect positive change and create healthy, vibrant communities.
Wow, it's wonderful. So 1,500 students, that's most of the student body, isn't it?
It is. Lori Patton actually helped me note that it's about the same percentage of students who study abroad. And you know how well Middlebury is known for its study abroad. So it's kind of a cool number.
A great tribute to what you're able to offer. So many of the things are not necessarily child focused that you're supporting, but I'm wondering, Megan, can you talk about some of the specific projects that students help to get involved with children and their families?
Sure. We have a number of different student organizations that have been started in a number of different ways, but our oldest and probably one of the foundational programs is Community Friends. And that's a big brother, big sister type one-to-one mentoring program that partners kids from the area who are between the ages of 6 and 12 with a big brother or big sister from the college. And those two will meet, we ask them to meet weekly for at least a year for about 2 hours at a time, and it's a really cool way for our college students to get to know a child and a family in the area.
And for changing aspirations sometimes of those kids that they could
yeah.
go into college. And you also, I read in the paper about events that you do, so it's not just a one-on-one thing, but there's also some group activities that happen.
Yeah, so with older students, with middle school age students, we have 2 programs called Brother to Brother and Sister to Sister, and we're partnered with our wonderful colleagues in Chella's house, so Karin Hanta, who helps to facilitate Brother to Brother and Sister to Sister. And they do monthly mentoring events for in a group setting for 7th and 8th graders.
Neat.
Yeah.
So I'm also thinking about, wow, I think of the years that you've been in existence and how many things. The literacy programs seems to me they're still going on.
They're still going on. They started back in 2000 when John and Bonnie McCardle were here. President McCardle, wanted to have a service project as part of the bicentennial celebration. And they very much wanted something that could continue on, that wasn't just a one-time blood drive or something like that. And so we actually received a wonderful grant and were able to create a significant program during the bicentennial year and the couple years afterwards. And it evolved into Page One Literacy. And it continues to this day. Megan can share the number of programs and students that were leading activities in local area schools last year and are continuing this year.
I just met with a student leader right before this. Really exciting to get everything starting back up here.
Stuff,
last year, the programs are about one semester long. They're between 6 and 8 weeks, and they're 1 hour after school literacy-based programs. So last year we had 33 leaders who worked together to do 12 programs at 8 different schools in the area.
I have a memory of some of them. Could you describe maybe one program somewhere?
Sure. So let's see. I don't know if I can recall the exact theme at the exact place with the exact leaders all at the same time here, but I'll do my best to paint kind of a scene. So we partner with after-school programs either through Mary Johnson or at individual programs. So for example, at Bristol Elementary with their ELP program, and every host site is a little different, but our student leaders, co-leaders, would meet with the folks at the schools to talk about how can we co-develop curriculum, what books might be age appropriate or a good fit, depending on who the students are collaborating with. They might be able to say, how can this tie into the work that students are doing in the classroom during school hours, and how can we dovetail into that and build and expand. So the students prepare beforehand, and then they come out to the schools, and they're usually grouped somewhere between 5 to 10 students who can sign up through their schools. And they'll do maybe a fun activity to kind of get the jitters out, and have a little run around because it's at the end of a long day. They'll read some books together. They'll do some content work about some type of a specific area, like vocabulary or rhyming or how nouns are used in this book. And then they might do a craft that relates. So one of the popular crafts this past spring was for the magic-themed books, which was creating magic wands with pretzel rods and sprinkles and frosting. So.
Right. And I'm thinking about, there's so many. You've been helping support students who volunteer, say, at Mary Johnson Children's Center or the Parent-Child Center, which are near and dear to my heart. How do students find out about what the opportunities are? Or
that's a timely question. So a week from today, Monday, September 19th, from 6 to 7:30 is our annual Mid-Action Fair, and there really is no reason why anybody couldn't participate if they wanted to come. We'll have about anywhere between 35 and 45 community organizations that use volunteers come along with our student service organizations for our students. We invite the faculty and staff as well. We'd love to have new faculty come and their families so that they can come and get to know community organizations. Faculty who might be looking for research topics or have research topics in mind and looking for community organizations with which to partner, as well as our students. We sort of target the first and second year students, but all students are welcome to come. And so that's one way. We have a website for the Center for Community Engagement at Middlebury, and we have a volunteer opportunities guide on that. We also, one of the roles that we feel like we feel is important to play, is to try to respond to community needs. And so we partner with United Way and the Volunteer Connection, and we also have an opportunity. Megan oversees weekly updates so that if people let us know what they might have needs for, then we can get it out to a significant distribution list of students who are interested.
Oh, so it's not just that one shot thing, but if let's say Treleven in 5 weeks, we missed the mid-action fair,
Exactly.
said, we really need somebody to do this, we would get in touch with you. And say,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you give us a couple sentences about what it is your need, what your need is, what time, when, how many volunteers you need, then we can help get that word out.
And we also work with other groups on campus. I helped liaise with our athletics teams as well, and often teams are looking for a way to get involved, get to know the community more, and build their group dynamics.
Yeah.
So it can be a really nice opportunity if anybody has service opportunities for larger groups.
That's great to think. I run into sometimes your soccer team when we do the community suppers will be there, and I hadn't thought about it in other contexts.
Yeah. And the same with the
great.
Commons. They oftentimes will do service projects together. The residential Commons are the residences in their groupings.
Great. Now, what about nutrition programs? Are you involved with those as well?
Sure. So we
Yeah.
have a group called NOM, which is Nutrition Outreach and Mentoring. And they have been partnered mostly with early ed centers and elementary school aged kids. This year we're really excited that NOM, the student organization, is going to partner with Mary Johnson and Mary Hogan and Cornwall, and with Cornwall and Mary Hogan to do a taste testing program in collaboration even with Bethany Yon at the Vermont Health Department here in Middlebury and in Rutland, and also with a group called Marble Valley Grows. So they'll work with the curriculum that has been developed here, which is called Harvest of the Month,
Yeah.
which is really fun and really beautiful, and go out to those two schools and do taste tests.
Neat. Do you do that on campus as well as the Harvest of the Month stuff promoted in the dining halls? No.
I don't know the answer to that, actually.
Not that I've seen.
Yeah,
Just-
I'm not sure.
I'm in love with them because they have beautiful posters, and they
They
send you
do.
great
They
recipes
do.
every month.
Cheryl, this might be a time too to talk about our privilege and poverty
Yes.
academic cluster, because in that program we have funding to support organizations locally who address issues of poverty. And an example in response to the question that you just asked about food and nutrition, one of the organizations that we supported the last couple years was a partnership between Mary Johnson Children's Center and the Girls and Boys Club of Greater Vergennes. And of course, during the summer months when school is not open, we in Addison County have a significant number of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. And so those children could be at risk for not being able to access. There are a number of different programs that are available, but it's not the daily school setting. And so the Girls and Boys Club of Vergennes and Mary Johnson Children's Center got a grant together to be able to bring food to trailer parks in a particular area in Addison County. So that's another way that is during the summer. And then we also have interns who are working at Charter House, and they provide food for the Friday night community suppers and then also the lunch programs. So that's another way in terms of getting food out. But also we've had students help either church groups or other community organizations to do gleaning with farmers who are interested in supporting that, and that's a way that some groups of volunteers get together and then can bring them to food shelves or Hope or the community supper, John Graham, so on and so forth.
I think your Middlebury students are such a driving force in creating a lot. I think about Middlebury Food, the program
Yes.
now that's taking
Yeah.
packages. I think that was a student-led.
It was. Charlie Mitchell and Emma Bliska are working on that now.
Yeah.
And that was through a partner. The Center for Social Entrepreneurship had a Mid-Challenge grant program, and that's where that evolved. Charlie was just on a panel with us, and I just had a meeting with Emma, and they're continually expanding the scope of their work, and they're doing amazing things.
And I know one of your recent graduates she actually is the woman that does a home share with my mom now.
Oh, good.
Alex Traxler, she's wonderful. But she, as part of that program of taking food, it was through Mary Johnson, was also doing not just food, but activities for kids in the community.
Exactly, yeah.
I think they call it the Rural Fun Delivery.
The Rural Fun Delivery,
Yes.
right? That's a great name. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know, is the DREAM program still active?
Dream
Sure
is
is.
still active, yeah. So Dream partners Middlebury College students with folks who live in the Peter Co apartments, as well as out at Pine Meadow, and they're partnered with Dream, the most sort of national organization, and the Vermont-based chapter here specifically. But that group is going alive and well. We have Dream Fridays, where kids from those communities come to campus for about 3 hours, and there's a great group of mentors who spend time together, and they've done all sorts of really fun activities, ranging from like a chemistry demonstration with Professor Roger Sandwick to egg drops. They do all kinds of fun stuff and explore the campus together.
And what about actually housing-related stuff beyond DREAM? It's not exactly child-related, but do you have a Habitat chapter? Or?
We do have a Habitat chapter, and when the local Habitat, if they are not doing an active build, then we encourage the Habitat volunteers to work with other organizations. It might be Hope, or it might helping overcome poverty's effects. It might be Charterhouse. It might be Addison County Community Trust. It could be John Graham. Areas that are supporting affordable housing, and so they might do renovations to an apartment or try to find parallel work like building a home. I actually just had a meeting recently with Mickey Heineken, and we're reconnecting on some of the Habitat for Humanity chapter, the local chapter, as well as this student chapter initiative. So that's really exciting. And that too continues through Privilege and Poverty and some of the on-site summer internship pieces. Through our partnership with John Graham Shelter and Charterhouse, for example, we've evolved over the years some children's activities as well, so that the children in residence, even though the residents can fluctuate and maybe they're very short term or maybe they're longer term, we're trying, there's a group of college students who are interested in supporting the lives of the children who find themselves in those situations, and how can we give them lively, caring, vibrant opportunities that also just give them a chance to have another ear and someone to stand with them.
So how do you have these wonderful student volunteers, but their time is limited, both by their classwork and because it's a 4-year, they're only on campus for 4 years. How do you orient people to creating strong, wonderful relationships with kids, but then they're going to be gone?
Exactly.
How does that work?
I think the most important thing is just to being upfront right from the beginning and setting clear expectations. One of the things that we encourage when we're working with student groups or individual students is to sit down with calendars so that we can compare the college calendar to the organizational calendar or to whatever the opportunity is. And we try to set realistic expectations, and we try to warn people about midterms and about finals and about breaks and things like that. But fortunately, I feel like there are enough weeks in the year that students can find meaningful opportunities to connect with community members.
Yeah.
And if sometimes relationships have to come to a close, that's a natural part of a relationship too. So helping to guide students through that so that they can come to understanding with it, as well as facilitating how healthy closure to a relationship can be, and modeling that.
So are you all sort of the counselors if somebody's working or volunteering somewhere and it's not working out well for them? what happens? Do they come to you? Do they just quit? What?
Hopefully they don't just quit.
Right.
Hopefully they would either talk with the organization with which they're working, or they would come and talk to us. And sometimes we can resolve problems. Sometimes it's just having a conversation and airing whatever the issues might be. Sometimes it's a simple misunderstanding that didn't get addressed quickly and festered or something like that. And again, trying to model healthy relationships, whether it's children and adults or between adults as well. But I think we're certainly part of the resources. When you said counselor, I get a little nervous just because we work very closely, for example, with the Counseling Service of Addison County, and that's where the Community Friends program started. And back in the 2001, 2002, when it came over to the college, it was I was a little nervous about it because I am not professionally qualified or trained in any of those issues. But we have the great blessing of working with people like Cheryl Huntley and having a partnership with the counseling service so that we can turn to them if we get into a situation that's more than we're able to deal with. And we also, in the schools, for example, with Dottie Newberger in Bridport, we work with school-based clinicians as well as teachers as well as guidance counselors, and I think Addison County does such a phenomenal job of partnering and creating this web of support, and I think we try to do it for those on the front lines doing the work as well as those in the community who may be either providing or receiving various services.
I just think it's so multifaceted what you're doing. You're interested in music, right? You used to run the college. I don't know that you ran the radio station, but you had a show.
No. I had a show and helped manage the folk department for a little while at WRMC, the Middlebury College radio station. Sure.
So do you have students who are involved in sort of media and music and stuff in the community as well?
Actually, yes. Professor Suli Tan, who teaches in the music department, and has had some of her students do projects with classrooms. Damascus Kafumbe, who is also in the music department, wrote a grant that we were able to help support and has brought musical instruments into classrooms with students, oftentimes either students in his class or other student volunteers. And that relates, Cheryl, to all kinds of departmental interests. It goes back to sort of that scholarship piece. And sometimes there's a fine line between whether it's indeed scholarship or whether it's service. But students have such a wide array of passions and interests. And we're excited about supporting them and blurring the boundaries so that they're getting the most out of their experience and finding ways to pursue their interests, whether it's for academic credit or not. And we're one of many partners who can support that. So I think Megan mentioned Roger Sandwick and the magic show in the chemistry department. There have been a group of 5 or 6 students who have supported and worked with Roger, and it's just such a fascinating and exciting way to bring chemistry to life. We've had faculty members who, one of my favorites is Suzanne Gerland, who teaches in the psychology department. She was teaching a statistics course, and there's a bit of irony here, but she was trying to bring statistics to life. And it ended up that we partnered with the group of people that were looking at hospice care and whether or not there was sufficient need and call for a respite care home. And some of the research, which on the one hand she was trying to bring to life, on the other hand they were looking at death records, but it did bring the value of research to life in a very meaningful way, and was a preliminary to the development of ARCH and getting the hospice care rooms at Helen Porter.
Yeah, that's a wonderful example, and I think there are many of them. It's been to watch the transition of people really valuing learning that includes a practical, hands-on service component is fascinating.
And if anyone listening has an idea for a research topic, by all means let me know, because we are happy to try to reach out to faculty or students who might have an interest in that. And when it works, it's just such a cool thing because the faculty benefits, because students, research shows that students learn even more when there's a public purpose for the project that they're working on.
Yeah.
So it's just a cool opportunity.
I'm just
and then the
thinking
community benefits as well.
about Building Bright Futures and other people in the county that are looking at mindfulness training and as a way of really helping to support young children and their families. And
Absolutely.
it might, well, I guess there's already a strong connection with the college.
With the Clifford Symposium is on mindfulness, and it's certainly an area that collaboration could build upon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask one more. It's not really child specific, but it's sort of about the growth of Juntos and how the Center for Community Engagement supports the Juntos group.
Sure. Do you want to take it, or do you want?
Go for it.
I'll start and Megan can add. So as you know, we've worked with farm workers and farm families for a number of years here, and we're delighted to be able to support and in whatever ways possible. We have volunteers working at Open Door Clinic providing some translation support. We actually do have some student volunteers, and I'm sorry I don't have a Spanish accent at all. I'll do a terrible job, but in the Compañeros program where college students help support children or moms bringing children to play groups or things like that, that is a particular way that we connect with children. Certainly English language learning and support, whether it's in English language learning or translation support when we can provide it, things like that. Yeah.
We're going to run out of time. Unfortunately, we could talk for a long time. Are there particular highlights that you would like to mention before we close, or dreams that you have for the future?
I noticed we didn't get a chance to talk about MidCam at all.
Yes.
Do you want to mention that, Tiffany?
Sure. MidCam is a partnership with Middlebury Union High School, specifically a group of students who are interested in supporting high school students who are interested in going on to college and might want some help with that college application process. So it's not for Middlebury College specifically, but for students who are looking for any kind of post-high school educational experience. And we have a group of students who are working with Erin Defoe, and I understand Sarah Sowell, who's the new college counselor at the Middlebury Union High School. So that's another example. Yeah.
Great. Wow. Thank you. It's just, maybe in summary, we can say if you're a community organization that sees a need that would be helped by either a research project or service learning, they could get in touch with you.
Absolutely.
And if there are students who have ideas, they can also get in touch with you. We can all just get in touch with you. We can come to your new place.
That's
and,
right. 20 Old Chapel Road.
Okay.
Next door to the old library, now the Accent Center.
Great. So, Megan and Tiffany, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being on today. Your contact information is going to show up in just a minute.
Great. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a delight.
Mm.